as one who between dim receding walls, towards the far gleam of a tunnel's mouth, hoping for light, walks now with freer pace, and feels approach a breath of wider air. So he escaped from that grey anarchy. Into an ineffectual world he came, a purposeless vision of arrested birth, where being from non-being fled, and dared to live, but had no strength long to abide. Above there gleamed a pondering broad sky, tormented, crossed by wings of doubtful haze, adventuring with the voice of roaming winds, and crying for a direction in the void, like blind souls looking for the selves they lost, and wandering through unfamiliar worlds. Wings of vague questioning met the query of space. After denial dawned a dubious hope, the hope of self and fire, and leave to live, and the birth of that which never yet could be, and joy of the mind's hazard, the heart's choice, grace of the unknown, and hence of sadness of prize, and a touch of sure delight in unsure things. To a strange, uncertain tract his journey came, where consciousness played with unconscious self, and birth was an attempt or episode. A charm drew near that could not keep its spell, an eager power that could not find its way, a chance that chose a strange arithmetic but could not bind with it the forms it made, a multitude that could not guard its sum, which less than zero grew, and more than one. Arriving at a large and shadowy sense that cared not to define its fleeting drift, life labored in a strange and mythic air, denuded of a sweet, magnificent suns. In worlds imagined, never yet made true, a lingering glimmer on creation's verge, one strayed and dreamed and never stopped to achieve. To achieve would have destroyed that magic space. The marvels of a twilight wonderland, full of a beauty strangely, vainly made, a surge of fanciful realities, dim tokens of a splendor sealed above, awoke the passion of the eye's desire, compelled belief on the unarmored thought, and drew the heart, but led it to no goal. A magic flowed as of moving scenes that kept a while their fugitive delicacy of sparing lines limned by an abstract art in a rare scented light with faint dream brush on a silver background of incertitude. An infant glow of heavens near to morn, a fire intense, conceived but never lit, carries the air with ardent tints of day. The perfect longing for imperfection's charm, the illumined, caught by the snare of ignorance, ethereal creatures, drawn by body's lure to that region of promise, beating invisible wings, came hungry for the joy of finite life, but too divine to tread created soil and share the fate of perishable things. The children of the unembodied gleam, arisen from a formless thought in the soul, and chased by an imperishable desire, traverse the field of the pursuing days. A will that unpersisting fate worked there. Life was a search, but finding never came. There nothing is satisfied, but all allured. Things seem to be that never wholly are. Images were seen that looked like living acts, and symbols hid the sense they claimed to show. Pale dreams grew real to the dreamer's eyes. The souls came there that vainly strive for birth, and spirits entrapped might wander through all time, and yet never find the truth by which they live. All ran like hopes that hunt a lurking chance. Nothing was solid, nothing felt complete. All was unsafe, miraculous, and half true. It seemed a realm of lives that had no base. Then dawned a greater seeking, broadened sky, a journey under wings of brooding force. First came the kingdom of the morning star. A twilight beauty trembled under its fear, and the throb of promise of a wider life. Then slowly rose a great and doubting sun, and in its light she made of self a world. A spirit was there that sought for its own deep self, yet was content with fragments pushed in front and parts of living that belied the whole, but pieced together might one day be true. Yet something seemed to be achieved at last. A growing volume of the will to be, a text of living, and a graph of force, a script of acts, a song of conscious forms, burdened with meanings fugitive from thought's grasp, and crowned with undertones of life's rhythmic cry, could write itself on the hearts of living things. In an outbreak of the might of secret spirit, in life and matter's answer of delight, some face of deathless beauty could be caught that gave immortality to a moment's joy, some word that could incarnate highest truth, leaped out from a chance attention of the soul, some hue of the absolute could fall on life, some glory of knowledge and intuitive sight, some passion of the rapturous heart of love. A hierophant of the bodiless secrecy, interned in an unseen spiritual sheath, the will that pushes sense beyond its scope to feel the light and joy intangible, half found its way into the ineffable peace, half captured the sealed sweetness of desire that yearned from a bosom of mysterious bliss, half manifested veiled reality. A soul not wrapped into its cloak of mind could glimpse the true sense of a world of forms, illumined by a vision in the thought, upbuoyed by the heart's understanding flame. It could hold in the conscious ether of the spirit the divinity of a symbol universe. This realm inspires us with our vaster hopes. Its forces have made landings on our globe, its signs have stamped their patterns on our lives. It lends a sovereign movement to our faith. Its errant waves motive our life's high search. All that we seek for is prefigured there, and all we have not known, nor even sought, which yet one day must be born in human hearts, that the timeless may fulfill itself in things. Incarnate in the mystery of the days, eternal in an unclosed infinite, a mounting endless possibility climbs high upon a topless ladder of dream, forever in the being's conscious trance. All on that ladder mounts to an unseen end. An energy of perpetual transience makes the journey from which no return is sure, the pilgrimage of nature to the unknown. As if in her ascent to a lost source, she hoped to unroll all that could ever be. Her high procession moves from stage to stage, a progress lead from sight to greater sight, a process march from form to ampler form, a caravan of the inexhaustible formations of a boundless thought and force. A timeless power that lay once on the lap of a beginningless and endless calm, now severed from the spirit's immortal bliss, erects the type of all the joys she has lost, compelling transient substance into shape. She hopes, by the creative act's release, to overleap sometimes the gulf she cannot fill, to heal a while the wound of severance, escape from the moment's prison of littleness, and meet the eternal's wide sublimities in the uncertain time field, portioned here. Almost in years, what never can be attained, she shuts eternity into an hour and fills a little soul with the infinite. The immobile leans to the magic of her call. She stands on a shore in the illimitable, perceives the formless dweller in all forms, and feels around her infinity's embrace. Her task no ending knows, she serves no aim, but labors, driven by a nameless will, that came from some unknowable, formless vast. This is a secret, an impossible task, to catch the boundless in a net of birth, to cast the spirit into physical form, to lend speech and thought to the ineffable. She is pushed to reveal the ever unmanifest. Yet by her skill, the impossible has been done. She follows a sublime irrational plan, invents devices of her magic art, to find new bodies for the infinite and images of the unimaginable. She has lured the eternal into the arms of time. Even now herself she knows not what she has done. For all is wrought beneath a baffling mask, a semblance other than its hidden truth, the aspect wears of an illusion streak. a faint, time-driven unreality, the unfinished creation of a changing soul in a body, changing with the inhabitant. Insignificant are means, infinite are worth. On a great field of shapeless consciousness, in little finite strokes of mind and sense, an endless truth she endlessly unfolds. A timeless mystery works out in time. The greatness she has dreamed, her acts have missed. Her labor is a passion and a pain, a rapture and pain, her glory and her curse. And yet she cannot choose but labors on. Her mighty heart forbids her to desist. As long as the world lasts, her failure lives. Astonishing and foiling reason's gaze, a folly and a beauty unspeakable, a superb madness of the will to live, a daring, a delirium of delight. This is her being's law, its sole resource. She says, though satisfaction never comes, her hungry will to lavish everywhere her many imaged fictions of the self and thousand fashions of one reality. A world she made, touched by truth's being hem, a world cast into a dream of what it seeks, an icon of truth, a conscious mystery's shape. It lingered not like the earth mind and deed in solid barriers of apparent fact. It dared to trust the dream mind and the soul. A hunter of spiritual verities, still only thought or guessed, or held by faith, it seized in imagination and confined a painted bird of paradise in a cage. This greater life is enamored of the unseen. It calls to some highest light beyond its reach. It can feel the silence that absorbs the soul. It feels a Saviour touch, a ray divine. Beauty and good and truth, its goddess are. It is near to heavenlier heavens than earth's eyes see. A darer darkness than man's life can bear. It has kinship with the demon and the god. A strange enthusiasm has moved its heart. It hungers for heights, it passions for the supreme. It hunts for the perfect word, the perfect shape. It leaps to the summit thought, the summit light. For by the formless it brought close, and all perfection fringes the absolute. A child of heaven who never saw his home, its impetus meets the eternal at a point. It can only near and touch, it cannot hold. It can only strain towards some bright extreme. Its greatness is to seek and to create. On every plane, this greatness must create. On earth, in heaven, in hell, she is the same. Of every fate, she takes her mighty part, a guardian of the fire that lights the suns. She triumphs in her glory and her might. Opposed, oppressed, she bears God's urge to be born. The spirit survives upon non-being's ground. World force outlasts world illusions shock. Dumb, she is still the word in art the power. Here fallen, a slave of death and ignorance, to things deathless she is driven to aspire, and moved to know even the unworthy. Even nascent, null, her sleep creates the world. When most unseen, most mightily she works, housed in the atom, buried in the cloth, her quick creative passion cannot cease. Inconscience is a long gigantic pause. Her cosmic swoon is a stupendous phase. Time-born, she hides her immortality. In death, her bed, she waits the hour to rise. Even with the light of the night that sent her forth, and the hope death she needed for her task, even when her brightest stars are quenched in night, nourished by hardship and calamity, and with pain for her body's handmaid, muscles, nurse, her tortured invisible spirit continues still to toil, though in darkness, to create, though with pangs. She carries crucified God upon her breast. In chill insensate depths, where joy is none, immured, oppressed by the resisting void, where nothing moves and nothing can become, still she remembers, still invokes the skill the wonder worker gave her at her birth, imparts to drowsy formlessness a shape, reveals a world where nothing was before. In realms confined to a prone circle of death, to a dark eternity of ignorance, a quiver in an inert inconscient mass, or imprisoned in immobilized worlds of force, by matter's blind compulsion, deaf and mute, she reposes motionless in its dust of sleep. Then, for a rebel awaking's punishment, given only hard mechanic circumstance, as the enginery of her magic craft, she fashions godlike marvels out of mud. In the plasm, she sets a dumb, immortal urge, helps the live tissue to think, the closed sense to feel, flashes to the frail nerves poignant messages. In a heart of flesh, miraculously loves. To brood bodies, gives a soul, a will, a voice. Ever she summons, as by sorcerer's wand, beings and shapes and scenes innumerable, torch-bearers of her palms through time and space. This world is a long journey through the night, the suns and planets, lamps to light her road. Our reason is a confidant of her thoughts, our senses are her vibrant witnesses. They are drawing us signs from things half true, half false. She labors to replace by realized dreams the memory of a lost eternity. These are her deeds in this huge world ignorance. Till the veil is lifted, till the night is dead, in light or dark, she keeps a tireless search. Time is a road of endless pilgrimage. One mighty passion motives all her works. Her eternal lover is her action's cause. For him she leaped forth from the unseen vast, to move here in a stark unconscious world. Its acts are her commerce with a hidden guest. His moods she takes for her heart's passionate moves. In beauty she treasures the sunlight of his smile. Ashamed of her rich cosmic poverty, she cajoles with her small gifts his mightiness, holds with her scenes his looks' fidelity, and woos his large-eyed wandering thoughts to dwell in figures of her million-impulsed force, only to attract her veiled companion and keep him close to her breast in her world glow, lest from her arms he turn to his formless peace, is her heart's business and her clinging care. Yet, when he is most near, she feels him far, for contradiction is her nature's law. Although she is ever in him, and he in her, as if unaware of the eternal tie, her will is to shut God into her works, and keep him as a cherished prisoner, that never they may part again in time. A sumptuous chamber of the spirit's sleep, at first she made, a deep interior room, where he slumbers, as if a forgotten guest. But now she turns to break the oblivious spell, awakes the sleeper on the sculptured couch. She finds again the presence in the form, and in the light that wakes within, recovers the meaning in the hurry and trudge of time, and through this mind that once obscured the soul passes a glint of unseen deity. Across a luminous dream of spirit space, she builds creation like a rainbow bridge between the original science and the void. A net is made of the mobile universe. She weaves a snare for the conscious infinite, and knowledge is with her that conceals its steps and seems a mute, omnipotent ignorance. A might is with her that makes wonders true. The incredible is her stuff of common fact. Her purposes, her workings, riddles prove. Examined, they grow other than they were. Explained, they seem yet more inexplicable. Even in our world, a mystery has reigned. Earth's cunning screen of trivial plainness hides. Her larger levels are of sorceries made. There the enigma shows its splendid prism. There is no deep disguise of commonness. Occult, profound, comes all experience. Marvel is ever new, miracle divine. There is a screen burden, a mysterious touch. There is a secrecy of hidden sense. Although no earthen mask weighs on her face, into herself she flees from her own sight. All forms are tokens of some veiled idea whose covered purpose larks from mind's pursuit, yet is a womb of sovereign consequence. There every thought and feeling is an act, and every act a symbol and a sign, and every symbol hides a living power. A universe she builds from truths and myths, but what she needed most, she cannot build. All shown is a figure or copy of the truth, but the real veils from her its mystic face. All else she finds, there lacks eternity. All is sought out, but missed the infinite. A consciousness lit by a truth above was felt. It saw the light, but not the truth. It caught the idea and built from it a world. It made an image there and called it God. Yet something true and inward hovered there. The beings of that world of greater life, tenants of a larger air and freer space, lived not by the body or in outward things. A deeper living was their seat of self. In that intense domain of intimacy, objects dwell as companions of the soul. The body's actions are a minor script, the surface rendering of life within. All forces are life's retinue in that world, and thought and body as her handmaids move. The universal whitenesses give her room. All feel the cosmic movement in their acts and are the instruments of her cosmic might, or their own self. They make their universe. In all who have risen to a greater life, a voice of unborn things whispers to the ear, to their eyes, visited by some high sunlight, aspiration shows the image of a crown, to work out a seed that she has thrown within, to achieve her power in them, her creatures live. Each is a greatness growing towards the heights, all from his inner center, oceans out. Encircling ripples of concentric power, they swallow, clotted, their environment. Even of that largeness, many a cabin made. In narrower breadths and briefer vistas spent, they live content with some small greatness won. To rule the little empire of themselves, to be a figure in their private world, and make the millions' joys and griefs their own, and satisfy their life motives and life wants, is a charge enough, an office for this strength, a steward of the person and his fate. This was transition line and starting point, the first immigration into heavenliness for all who cross into that brilliant sphere. These are the kinsmen of our earthly race. This region borders on our mortal state. This wider world our greater movements gives. Its strong formations build our growing selves. Its creatures are our brighter replicas, complete the types we only initiate, and are securely what we strive to be. As if thought out eternal characters, entire, not pulled as we by contrary tides, they follow the unseen leader in the heart. Their lives obey the inner nature's law. There is kept grandeur store, the hero's mold. The soul is the watchful builder of its fate. None is a spirit indifferent and inert. They choose their side. They see the God they adore. A battle is joined between the true and false. A pilgrimage sets out to the divine light. For even ignorance there aspires to know. and shines with the luster of a distant star. There is a knowledge in the heart of sleep, and nature comes to them as a conscious force. An ideal is their leader and their king. Aspiring to the monarchy of the sun, they call in truth for their high government, hold her incarnate in their daily acts, and fill their thoughts with her inspired voice, and shape their lives into her breathing form, till in a sun-gold godded they too share. Or to the truth of darkness they subscribe. Whether for heaven or hell, they must wage war. Warriors of good, they serve a shining cause, or are evil soldiers in the pay of sin. For evil and good, an equal tenure keep. Wherever knowledge is, ignorance is twin. All paths of life towards their godded tend. In the wideness and the daring of that air, which builds its temple and expands its cult, and seen too there is a divinity. Affirming the beauty and splendor of her law, she claims life as a natural domain, assumes the world's throne, or dons the papal robe. Her worshippers proclaim her sacred right. A red-teared falsehood they revere, worship the shadow of a crooked god, admit the black idea that twists the brain, or lie with the harlot power that slays the soul. A mastering virtue statuesques the pose, or a titan passion goads to a proud unrest. At wisdom's altar they are kings and priests, or their life a sacrifice to an idol of power. For beauty shines on them like a wandering star, too far to reach. Passionate, they follow her light. In art and life, they catch the all-beautiful's ray and make the world their radiant treasure house. Even common figures are with marble robed. A charm and greatness looked in every hour awakes the joy which sleeps in all things made. A mighty victory or a mighty fall, a throne in heaven or a pit in hell, the dual energy they have justified and marked their souls with a tremendous seal. Whatever fate may do to them, they have earned. Something they have done, something they have been, they live. Their matter is soul's result and not its cause. In a contrary balance to earth's truth of things, the gross weighs less, the subtle counts for more. On inner values hangs the outer plan. As quivers with the thought, the expressive word, as yearns the act with the passion of the soul, this world's apparent sensible design looks vibrant back to some interior mind. A mind not limited by external sense gave figures to the spirit's imponderables. The world's impacts without channels registered and turned into the body's concrete thrill, the vivid workings of a bodiless force. Powers here subliminal that act unseen, or in ambush crouch waiting behind the wall, came out in front, uncovering their face. The occult grew their overt. The obvious kept a covered down and shouldered the unknown. The unseen was felt and jostled visible shapes. In the communion of two meeting minds, thought looked at thought and had no need of speech. Emotion clasped emotion in two hearts. They felt each other's thrill in the flesh and nerves, or melted each in each and grew immense, as when two houses burn and fire joins fire. Hate grappled hate, and love broke in on love. Will wrestled with will on mind's invisible ground. Others' sensations passing through like waves, left quivering the subtle body's frame. Their anger rushed, galloping in brute attack, a charge of trampling hooves on shaken soil. One felt another's grief invade the breast, another's joy, exulting, ran through the blood. Hearts could draw blows through distance, voices near that spoke upon the shore of alien seas. There beat a throb of living interchange, being felt being even when afar, and consciousness replied to consciousness. And yet the ultimate oneness was not there. There was a separateness of soul from soul. An inner wall of silence could be built, an armor of conscious might protect and shield. The being could be closed in and solitary. One could remain apart in self, alone. Identity was not yet, nor union's peace. All was imperfect still, half known, half done. The miracle of inconscience overpast, the miracle of the superconscious still, unknown, self-wrapped, unfelt, unknowable, looked down on them, origin of all they were. As forms they came of the formless infinite, as names leaped of a nameless eternity. The beginning and the end were there occult, a middle term worked, unexplained, abrupt. There were words that spoke to a vast wordless truth. There were figures crowding an unfinished sum. None truly knew himself, or knew the world, or the reality living there enshrined. Only they knew what mind could take and build out of the secret supermind's huge store. A darkness under them, a bright void above, uncertain they lived in a great climbing space. By mysteries they explained a mystery. A riddling answer met the riddle of things. As he moved in this ether of ambiguous life, himself he grew a riddle to himself. As symbols he saw all and sought their sense.